Ian, welcome to Also Driven. Our first attempt didn't work out very well. We're on Lanzarote and it's a little bit windy. So this review is mainly going to be from inside the car. As you can probably see, we're in one of the Fiat 500s. It's the last generation of the 2007 model that came out. So it's actually quite hard to believe that this has been in production for 3 decades. To the 2000s, the teens, and now the 20s. This is the very last of one of these cars. It's 2023. It uses the new Firefly engine. It's a little 3-cylinder with a hybrid. I think the definition of hybrid really struggles, mainly because the battery is right under my seat. It's about the size of a laptop battery, I believe. And it powers a starter motor, which gives the engine an extra 1 horsepower. But even for all that weird tech, it actually works quite well. It's a much smoother thing to drive than the Dacia we had last week. It doesn't have quite the same amount of power. It's around about 70 horsepower, I think. But it's a much nicer experience to drive. You don't get the sensation that one of the 3 cylinders is actually powering the air conditioning. Doesn't seem to make much difference. Anyway, this is a very short review because this car has been in production for a very, very long time and has been reviewed numerous times, from its very first time when James May took it out on the streets of Turin and said that he was able to make the valves come out and dance on the bonnet, right up to like some of the car magazines who took the Firefly out when it was launched a few years ago and pronounced it a bit meh. Personally, I think it's actually a nice little engine. It's much nicer than the Renault unit in the Dacia. Of all the cars we've had to play with this week, this one probably ticks the most boxes for me. 1, because you've got the convertible option, which is really quite cool, and 2, you've got the petrol engine, which is quite well sussed. The EV was a much more advanced car, and it was very luxurious to drive. I loved the way it drove. But being in a foreign country with an EV is a struggle, because we went to like 4 different chargers. We managed to get 2 of them to work, and in the back of your mind you're constantly thinking, where am I going to go and get this car charged up? Is it going to be successful? Am I going to get back? Am I going to get stranded? And I just find that all a little bit too stressful, I'd have to say. So this for me is the car of the week. I know it's a very short review, but I mean, the car has been on the market forever. It doesn't need me to go in and out and tell you how much the electric steering gets lighter below 19 miles an hour or whatever, or the 6-speed gearbox. Oh, that's actually an interesting thing. The 6-speed gearbox on this is much better than the one on the Dacia. The Dacia had a bit of an issue with first and second gears, in the sense that when you're coming up to roundabouts and things like that, you would normally drop into second to go onto the roundabout, whereas the Dacia wanted you to go into third. I just found it a little bit weirdly geared. Both of them are 6-speed gearboxes, but this one feels like a 5-speed with an extra gear, whereas the Dacia felt like all the gears were in completely the wrong places. You'll see about how there is enough room in the boot for, you know, a short holiday with the car. The back seats fold down, so you know it's big enough to probably put a week's shopping into, and it's actually quite clever. Like, for example, the hood will lift itself up slightly when you go to lift the rear boot, which I thought was very clever. It's quite smooth. The engine does what it says on the tin. I had this thing last week after driving the Dacia that I felt that sort of like the internal combustion engine has probably gone as far as it can go, and I'm gonna say that this is kind of giving me a little bit of hope again that this actually is quite nice to drive. The Dacia just felt like everything was completely frantic the whole time. Yes, it's got an extra 30 horsepower over this, but it really felt that you had to wring its neck to actually get it to do anything. I love the concept of the Dacia. The jogger ticks so many boxes in this modern world, but it just feels a little bit flawed. Whereas, other than the fact that this has not an awful lot of room in it, admittedly, it's actually quite a nice thing to be in. Also helps that we're in Lanzarote. It's 24 degrees and we've got no roof. Anyway, thank you for watching our very short little review of this very old car. And it's quite weird that, like, I've reviewed 3 cars this week, and the favourite one is the one that's the oldest, because it feels very analog, even though it's got the little hybrid battery and things, but it still feels very analog. It's got a knob on the radio to adjust the volume. That's how analog it is. But I've enjoyed this one the most. I hope you enjoyed the video. They have been a little ad hoc, but that's just because we're on holiday and we just want to record the fun things that we're doing with the cars that we have. Like and subscribe if you can, and hopefully Sean and I will have a video out again soon. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye! It's beeping. Why is it beeping? Something to do with reverse. Oh, it's the parking sensors. It's got parking sensors.